What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ralph's Real Review, where today we are going over Lady and the Tramp. And I apologize for the laundry in the background. Clearly, I just did laundry. So, quick status update. As of right now, we are at about 36 subscribers. I did say that we were trying to get to 50 by the time we hit Sleeping Beauty, and that is technically the next video after this one. So, it doesn't look like we're going to hit that goal, but it is really up to you guys as the watchers. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Help us reach that goal. I would really like to get to 50 by Sleeping Beauty as we continue to expand. I think on TikTok, we're up to like 114 followers. Here, we're at 36. We're just trying to rise and climb and continue on. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, share it with your friends who maybe are Disney fans. And eventually this will become more than just the Disney rankings. Right now it's a series I'm working on. But eventually I will be getting into like all movie reviews. So if you are interested in that, please stay tuned. But for now, let's get into Lady and the Tramp. So in Lady and the Tramp, essentially we have a dog named Lady. She is taken in by this family as a puppy. She very quickly, within like the first 5 minutes of the movie, grows into a full-grown dog, but she's only 6 months old, so she's still a baby. However, her owners get pregnant and have their own baby, and she's kind of warned by this tramp dog who's like a freelance dog. There's a word for that, dogs who are out in the wild. It'll come to me at some point, but essentially he warns her when the baby comes in, the dog goes out, and she kind of goes on adventures with him and learns about his past and yada yada. To keep a long story short, they end up falling in love and they fight, and then they get over their fight, and then they're together and it's all great at the end. When it comes to the animation on this movie, I actually have Lady and the Tramp at first over Peter Pan, which I find weird because Peter Pan to me felt like the perfect mix of like quality and quantity until I saw Lady and the Tramp. There's not a lot of action sequences going on, which typically would give a movie like a Peter Pan the edge, but the quality of the animation, and it's weird, right? Because this is again to an untrained eye. When I was doing research online, people were complaining about the animation in this movie upon its release. The version that I'm seeing now on Disney Plus, I think the backgrounds are great. I think the colors are vibrant. The way I'm viewing it, the quality of animation was so high in this. And then there are some like quote unquote action sequences. There's no fighting with pirates and swords, but there is, trying to escape the dog catchers, and there is trying to catch the rat, and there is trying to save the tramp from the dog catcher. So there's enough action in the movie to keep that level of animation up, but the quality of the animation looked great to me compared to its contemporary. So I have it at 1 in animation. When it comes to storytelling, I also have Lady and the Tramp at 1. And again, this really comes down to the idea of I feel like if I were to go back just based off the movies we've seen so far, and we're at 15, right? Which one would I want to watch again the most? And the answer is Lady and the Tramp. I think that again, we're starting to get into the idea of morals of movies, right? And Lady and the Tramp, really the moral is, don't judge a book by its cover, more or less. The tramp has a past and he has a history and he is a scoundrel. His name is literally Tramp. Her name is literally Lady. But they find their way together, and he proves to be more than he appears. Yeah, that is a theme that will later be used in Beauty and the Beast. I do wonder how much Beauty and the Beast, I'm not going to say got inspiration from Lady and the Tramp, because I'm sure there were two different stories before the movies came to be, but I do feel like a weird parallel between Lady and the Tramp and Beauty and the Beast. But when it comes to storytelling, on top of that, I do think that there's a fair amount of humor in this movie, and there's humor really in all these movies, but this is the one that really felt a little bit more like on the nose and enjoyable to me. So because of that, I just think that this movie was a more fun watch. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it at 1. So characters. This is where we drop now with Lady and the Tramp. Characters, I put Lady and the Tramp at 6. It is behind Alice in Wonderland and above Dumbo. And really, at first, I had it below Dumbo. The issue that Lady and the Tramp is going to run into is none of its characters really meet that iconic status. You could argue that Lady and the Tramp together are like this power duo kind of, but I would say not really, especially once we get into like the Renaissance films and all that comes with there. But the main character, if you were to take one character out of this movie, whether it be Lady or the Tramp, and you compare it to the likes of a Dumbo, of a Cinderella, of a Snow White, of a Grumpy. Like some films' secondary characters are more quote unquote recognizable and iconic than Lady and the Tramp, individually or together. So the question really becomes then, how strong are the characters? And that is why ended up putting it above Dumbo. I would argue that Dumbo is a more iconic and recognizable character, than anybody in Lady and the Tramp. I would say that Timothy Q. Mouse is a underrated sidekick, but definitely not recognizable. When I look at Lady and the Tramp, I feel like whatever I feel about Timothy Q. Mouse, I could also say about Jack and Trusty, or Jock and Trusty, however you decide to say it. But when it comes to Lady and the Tramp in and of themselves, while they may not be as recognizable and iconic, I do think that they are strong enough in that respect. I find that their character strength is amazing. Lady really is endearing. She is a strong character, especially for her time and the way that she is portrayed. But I also, and again, it's a piece of like a era. Like I don't think Disney would do this nowadays. But the way that Tramp was written, the way that he spoke, the way that he acted, you could tell that he meant well, but he spoke in a way that was of a street dog. And the fact that they were able to kind of find that balance with him, makes his character that much stronger. Her instincts and staying true to who Lady was also strong. And I feel like together, the strength of those characters made me put it above a Dumbo. When it came to Alice in Wonderland, as much as I wanted to put it all over Alice in Wonderland because of that, there really isn't too much strength of character outside of those two, and there's just too many iconic characters in Alice in Wonderland for me to place it above there. So because of that, I am also going to put Lady and the Tramp at 6. Next, we have the Disney factor, where Lady and the Tramp is going to fall all the way down to 9. And the main reason for this, again, we got to talk about race when it comes to these movies. Disney, it felt like it went out of their way to up the race thing. I don't know how to word it in this one. Essentially, different dogs or different breeds are represented as being from different places. So the cats, heavily stereotypical Asian. There is a dog who sounds heavy stereotypical Russian. There is a dog who sounds heavy stereotypical Latin. I'm gonna guess Mexican, but who knows what they were going for. Point being is they went into racial stereotypes hard in this movie. Even if it was only for bits and pieces of it. Jock is a very Scottish dog. Like it, they went for it, and it's very present. And while it might seem like they didn't mean any harm by it, for a modern audience, it does take you back. And if we're going to look at Dumbo and say, well, that the prevalence of it is going to draw it down to here. Dumbo felt more. I don't want to say it was ill will, but Dumbo felt more harmful than Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp felt so overt that it kind of takes you out of the movie as like a damn. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and put it at 9. I do still keep it ahead of the anthology films because Lady and the Tramp is a Disney movie. It feels like a Disney movie. Saludos amigos, whether it had racial things or not, did not feel that way. So Lady and the Tramp, ninth for the Disney factor. When it comes to music, I have Lady and the Tramp at 6th, beneath Dumbo and above the Three Caballeros. I had to actually look up if Bella Notte was a Lady and the Tramp song or if it was a song that Lady and the Tramp used. It turns out that it is an original song for Lady and the Tramp, and because of that, I feel like it deserves this 6th spot. Essentially, you have the sign. So this movie and Dumbo kind of operate on the same level, right? Where you have like the iconic song. For Dumbo, it's Baby Mine. For Lady and the Tramp, it's Bella Notte. Then, arguably, their next best song has severe racial undertones. So for Dumbo, it's When I've Seen an Elephant Fly. For Lady and the Tramp, it is going to be the Siamese Cat song, right? So we're just gonna throw those two out and call it even. So really, you're looking at Bella Notte versus Baby Mine, and I just think Baby Mine is the better song. It's so they're even. I mean, they really are even. It's gonna depend on your preference. I think Baby Mine is more heartbreaking, and the song really makes the scene. I think the song makes the scene for Bella Notte too, but is not as like gripping and heartbreaking. It's just more so romantic. So because of that, I give the slight edge to Dumbo as opposed to Lady and the Tramp. The weird thing with Lady and the Tramp, and Dumbo didn't really feel like it did this either, which is why I give it the edge. It feels like at a certain point Disney was just putting music in movies to put music in movies. There's a song where Lady is wondering what a baby is, and instead of just saying, I wonder what a baby is, she's just singing about it for like a minute and a half. And it's like, okay, this song didn't have to be here. And they do that quite a bit. So Lady and the Tramp, sixth for music. Box office success. Lady and the Tramp comes in sixth again at about 510, a little less than $510 million. Was it six? Yeah, six with $510 million. Again, there's really not much to talk about at this point. When you look at the raw numbers, this was Disney's most successful financial film since Snow White at the time. But again, when you adjust for inflation, you see that that's obviously not the case. So yeah, nothing really to report here on Lady and the Tramp. It was more successful than the two movies that came before it, um, landing at sixth overall, adjusted for inflation. And then finally, we have historical significance, and it really pains me because I love this movie, and I didn't love this movie coming into this review. I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing movie that is severely slept on. But the reality of the situation is, it's just not very historically significant for the company. It is a classic film. People have heard of Lady and the Tramp, but I don't think it's a movie that everybody has seen. I don't think it's a movie that Disney necessarily pushes way too much. If you were to look at its relevance in the parks, you have Tony's Town Square in Magic Kingdom, which is a Italian restaurant. If you want to say themed to Lady and the Tramp, you can, but it's very light. Like if you're not paying attention to the details, you can miss it. It's prevalent. Like they're on the menu. I'm pretty sure they're on like the bathroom doors. Like they're around. Um, but it's an Italian restaurant, right? That they just were like, hey, let's make it Lady and the Tramp. Outside of that, there's really not much to report. I would love to see if there was any correlation between Beauty and the Beast and Lady and the Tramp, because again, like I'm seeing it from my seat, but that doesn't mean that the filmmakers were feeling that at all. I don't know. This feels like Beauty and the Beast before Beauty and the Beast. This feels like a more dumbed down, like easier set Beauty and the Beast. Um, but yeah, there it is. Historical significance at 10th. Not much to report. And that will take us to our tier list. And this is going to be really difficult for me because uh, I, I think I'm higher on this movie than other people are going to be on this movie. I think it is comical. I think the characters are well written and portrayed for the most part, outside of the racism stuff. I think that the story is classic and more so than classic, timeless. Like I don't know what to say. I really, really, really genuinely enjoyed this movie. I think the animation to me personally as a viewer held up. Maybe it's a digitally restored version that they have on Disney Plus, but I thought it was great. I thought the humor was great. I thought the story was great. I thought the plot line was great. I don't see a reason to knock this movie outside of the fact that it's just not really prevalent in Disney parks or pushed through other forms of Disney media. But when it comes to this movie, and I'm looking at this movie, I'm going, why wouldn't you watch it? And the real only answer there is um, racism, right? But I don't know, man. So really, the question is this: am I putting it in everywhere, or or everyone should watch, or am I putting it in only movie fans should watch? And because I put Peter Pan in movie fans, I have a hard time putting Lady and the Tramp in everyone should watch, but I think that's where I'm going to put it simply because I think Lady and the Tramp is a it's a different type of movie than Peter Pan. I'm finding it hard to say it's a better movie than Peter Pan, but I kind of feel like it's a better movie than Peter Pan. I think the story is better. I think the humor is better. I think, again, both movies are dealing with issues of racism. It does feel like, again, Peter Pan is probably more harmful. Not that that was intended. the racism in Lady and the Tramp doesn't, it feels like they were just like having fun with stereotypes, which is like bad, but it's not as bad as like, hey, let's like actively portray a type of human being as savage and howling and all this stuff. So it's hard. If someone wants to argue Lady and the Champ should go down and Peter Pan should go up, I really have them like neck and neck. But I do think that I liked Lady and the Tramp enough to recommend it to a overall general audience. Y'all let me know, what do y'all think? Am I too high on Lady and the Tramp? Am I too low on some other movies? We're working through these rankings. We're at 15 now. Pretty soon we'll be getting to 20 and we'll be in the Renaissance. So yeah, if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, comment, share, do the things to help feed the algorithm. And I will see you guys at the next video. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my IG is Ralph's Review. If you want to follow me on TikTok, my TikTok is Ralph's Rapid Review. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great night.